Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Secrets. We're talking about health food today. There's no such thing as health food, pretty much. Let me explain. First off, let's understand the spiritual understanding of food itself, because there's a whole spiritual mechanism to food beyond, I'm hungry and let me just put something in my mouth to fill it, right? So food is basically two things according to the wisdom of Kabbalah. There's the 1%, or the physical food, which is maybe yummy, it's tasty, it's the physical thing. And then there's the energetic component in the food. Now, the energetic component feeds us spiritually, or at least that's what it's supposed to do. So there's a purpose beyond filling our stomach or satisfying our hunger. I'll go into a little bit more of the details of that, okay? But stick to the end so we can pull it all together. It's very important to understand the principle of food, why we eat, and this idea, which has been corrupted, of course, like many things, for profits, to make money. The idea of health food. It's almost a misnomer for sure. It's almost an oxymoron. So again, two parts of the food. There's the physical and the energetic component of the food. In fact, in the writings of the Kabbalist, it says that we have 32 teeth. 32 teeth, why? Because there are 32 paths of wisdom, and the purpose of our teeth are to break down and separate the klipa, meaning the shell. Just like we would take a shell off an apple or an orange or whatever the fruit might be, we separate the external, the part that we don't really benefit from the internal, which we do benefit from. So with fruits, and because fruits are a high level, which I'll get into, fruits, that's easy to see. There's not much to do with fruits. In fact, even the digestion is very quick, it's very easy, the best for the human body under most circumstances. The easiest to digest food is fruits. Then comes vegetables, okay? And then we go from there. So the klipa, meaning the shell, and usually that has a negative connotation, is just the holder of what's inside. In other words, just the same way as our body is the holder of our soul, the physical food is the holder of the energy that we want from that food. Of course, there are positive vehicles, there are negative vehicles. The physical 1% of food certainly has an impact on our life because we are physical beings, we have a human body, and that has certain requirements, obviously. So, and again, this is a very long discussion, but there are basic questions that one would need to ask with regard to food. Number one would be, what are you eating? What? In other words, what is it? Is it good? Is it bad physically? What is it? Or energetically? Two, how much of it should you eat, regardless if it's good or bad? Because you can eat the best food in the world and overeat, and that is not health-giving. Number three is when to eat, and of course the fourth would be how much. So what, when, how much, what, when, how much, and what was the fourth one? I forgot the fourth one, but it'll come back to us. So the idea here is that food has huge impact. We are very much driven. Imagine you go on vacation, what's the first thing you're checking? Most people, maybe not you, but most people. How many restaurants do they have? Is it all inclusive? All that, because it's, again, surrounding the idea of food. One of the greatest desires in our life, next to sex, is food. Food and sex. And they are definitely related. Why? Because to create a human being needs sex. To sustain the human being needs food. They have an intimate relationship. Okay, but let's go to the heart of the matter here. First off, health food, there is not really any such thing as health food. Why? Think about it for a second. What is healthy food? Now, that's very much for an individual, because each individual is different. There were Kabbalists who wrote about the type of blood that you have and the food that you eat, that there is definitely a relationship. I personally have found that to be absolutely true. With people, students that I counsel, that I consult with, and myself personally, people in my life, family, the type of food that you eat definitely has a direct relationship with your blood. Meaning, not the food that you eat, but rather the food that is going to be better for you. Now, is that the end all? No, but it is an important thing to take into consideration, because type O blood is supposedly likes meat. Now, let's talk about meat for a second. I am type O blood. I love meat. I love meat. Not so much chicken. I mean, I like chicken. I'll eat it. But meat, give me a good grilled whatever, hamburger, good steak. I love it. It's the best for me. That doesn't mean it's good for you. I am type O blood, and I need that. It gives me energy when I eat meat. Simple as that. I feel good. Give me a sweet roll or a cheese sandwich, and I'm done. I need to go to sleep, maybe. Okay? So there's a definite relationship. Now, for many reasons, of course. So let's just talk about food in general. The concept of health food is not a real concept. That's done to make money for the stores that sell health food, because it's a mistake to think that if I eat this food, I will be healthy. Granted, we need nutrition from food, absolutely. But for the most part, in our generations, it should be called non-invasive food rather than health food. Because again, there's no such thing as this food is healthy. Yes, I mean to say, yes, if you eat fruits, it's healthy for you. Number one, because it's non-invasive, generally speaking, depending on you, of course. But we should call it non-invasive food, because the mistake is thinking that if you have an organic bread and you eat a loaf of it, you're not going to get healthier, okay? Now, falafel could be a health food, but of course not falafel that's been deep fried in oil that's been sitting there for 7 days. So chickpeas are, maybe they're good and a healthy food, or nutritious, beneficial. They're high in fiber. They have vitamins and minerals. But again, so how you prepare the food is also an important factor. I think that was the fourth. How. The how of the food. So again, there's so many factors. But number one, food needs to be non-invasive. Why non-invasive? Because today food can be very much invasive. So many of you are awake and aware of that type of an idea. But people that I usually think would be, because they like to eat healthy, or so they think, are not necessarily as well as informed as they could be. For example, sugar of any type is not great for you, okay? Sugar, cane sugar, coconut sugar, agave, I mean, how many other forms does sugar come in? Unless it's a natural sugar cane that you just cut from the field, sugar is a processed product. I hate to tell you. I mean, I know agave is a big thing among people. Agave is a processed product akin to high fructose corn sugar. I'm sorry, I know that's going to be a shock. And high fructose corn sugar is the worst, okay? I know it's low glycemically, but again, investigate. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Anyway, sweeteners. Maple syrup is okay. Honey is okay. Again, in real moderation. Because if you don't have an issue with sugar, a little sugar is not going to hurt you. That's okay. But if you're into sweets all the time, that can cause inflammation and lots of other issues. Type 2 diabetes, or that's a real epidemic. Okay, so carbs in general, we eat too many of them. Now, organic whenever you can. Now, I'm going all over the place because there's too much to talk about, but it's okay. Catch what you can. Organic whenever you can. And it doesn't need to be super expensive. Look for what needs to be organic. Generally speaking, if you're, trying to watch the dollars, as we all should be, or watch the pennies, thin-skin organic fruit and vegetables don't necessarily need to be organic if you properly wash them, use vinegar or even soap and water, rinse, make sure it's rinsed thoroughly to rinse them off. But other than that, grapes, vine fruits, blueberries, strawberries, all that, gotta be organic. Pesticides is a big deal. Those are harmful to our health. Organic grains is a must. Read my lips, is a must. I don't care if you eat whole wheat. Whole wheat is not much better than whatever, white flour. White foods in general we should stay away from. White sugar, white flour, potatoes. They don't do much for us, and they do more harm than good, okay? Again, everything is in moderation once in a while, but if you can't control the once in a while, then better to stay away altogether. So what's the problem with grains? What's the problem with grains? Well, one word, glyphosates. Research, look it up. No good for you, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So we have to really be careful because that stuff is really a problem. So hopefully, and I say hopefully, the organic grains that we may consume are going to be better. And I say hopefully because it's difficult to trust, these days, any large organizations. But be that as it may, we do the best we can. As far as grains go, look for kamut if you can in your cereals or flour products, grain, or einkorn. Now these two grains, kamut, very little, and einkorn, almost none, have been hybridized. And that's important because, in general, the grains are not what they used to be, okay? And therefore, there's a lot of issues with, people think it's about gluten. It's not about gluten, not really. It's about your body not recognizing what the heck you're eating. That happens with GMOs, genetically modified, whatever they may be, if it's vegetables or grains, because most of them are GMO. Now, hybridized vegetables, and grains, they were not meant to be hybridized. That means they crossbreed them to make them stronger, to make them hardier, to make them, again, in the end of the day, more profitable. It was not meant for that, because our body, the Creator gave us food, Creator gave us a body to be able to digest and eat what was provided for us by nature. But we have altered nature because we're so smart. And because we have altered nature, well, the food ain't what it used to be. And so, kamut is a more ancient grain, and einkorn most people don't even know about. You can make your own bread. Very easy, by the way. To do that, you don't even need yeast. Better to stay away from yeast. You can use sourdough starter if you know how to do that, or you can just make yourself a dough, leave it for 48 hours, and it's going to rise on its own naturally with natural yeast. You can make your own natural bread out of that. You'll love it. It's not easy to eat healthy. You can eat healthy, but again, the foods were meant to give us the nutrition that the Creator gave to us, because again, the two parts are the body and the soul of the food as well. Same with meats. Nothing wrong with meat. What is wrong with meat today? Difficult to get meat the way it should be, meaning the animal is taken care of, with loving care, humanely, and it's slaughtered in a humane way, which is what kosher is supposed to be about, one of the things. The other thing is energetic, the energetic factor, and the release of the soul of the animal and release of any negative souls that might be present there. I'm not going to go into the whole kosher idea, but that's what kosher was meant for, to have more energetically sound food. But again, it's difficult to find energetically sound food which is also physically okay. That means it wasn't pumped full of hormones, antibiotics, and treated horribly, right, inhumanely. So it's tough. It's tough, but it can be found. That's what I want to say. You have to work for the food. By the sweat of our brow, we will eat bread. That has many meanings. Today, it has an obvious meaning. You have to really work hard to eat just plain food, regular food that won't be invasive. That's what I mean by it's not really health food. Most of the food that we buy, yes, it's meant to give us nutrition, but it shouldn't invade us. It shouldn't hurt us. That's the challenge today. Finding the food that will be non-invasive and will be able to give us the benefit of what it was meant to do nutritionally and energetically. And that's my point. You might think, well, fish might be safe. I'm sorry, it's not. Wild caught, this, that. Again, our water today is polluted. There are pharmaceuticals in the water. There's pollution in the water. There's God knows what else in the water. And the majority of the fish are also. And please, don't go to farmed fish, okay? Do me a favor. That's probably the worst of the worst. So, does that mean you can't eat fish? No, limited amount. If it's, you can find organic fish that's organically farmed in small batches. That's what I try to do. Again, I don't eat a lot of fish for that reason. I love fish, but hey, careful with what you want to eat. Again, now, a lot of this also depends on your tolerance. Some people have more tolerance and can kind of tolerate things, but we don't really know. It's almost like you got to do the best you can, even if you feel good. I don't want to put anything out there, but things happen to people. We don't always know why. Things, health issues get started. So, of course, spirituality can help overcome many, many things. That's for sure. So, we know everything is written ahead of time, your health, your longevity. Yes, but it's also based on the effort that you make when you know what you know. So trying to drink clean water, you hopefully have a good water filtration system. That's important. Reverse osmosis is important, but make sure you get your minerals in other ways. Again, organic wherever you can and wherever you need to. Grass-fed, if at all possible. Kosher, energetically kosher meat. Again, if it's organic, that's a big plus, but that's quite, cost prohibitive. But there are good, reliable people that sell meat, kosher, that is grass-fed and purported not to have hormones or steroids or any of that. And the price is not much different than organic meat, which is quite expensive. What else? I mean, chicken's the same idea. Whatever goes for the meat goes for the chickens. Now, again, I don't want to make this too long. Fruit has the highest vibration. There's no question about that. Now, not a lot of people can exist only on fruit, and that takes, you need to build up your constitution to be able to do that. But it's an extremely high vibration. How many times a day you eat? How much space you put between eating? Well, again, this could be a very long thing. This should be a whole course, and perhaps that will be forthcoming at some point. But contrary to what many people believe, it's not great for most people, I'm generalizing, most people to have many meals. It awakens insulin. And every time you awaken insulin, again, depends on on your chemistry, but many people can become insulin resistant. And that's when we have issues. You find you get tired, especially when you eat carbs. That's a good sign that you are insulin resistant. Can you do something about it? Absolutely. But you don't want to continue on that path, because that's why so many people are maybe pre-diabetic or, borderline. I was in that category for a while. I fixed it, thank God. Fixed. No drugs, no medications, please, no. Because those things have side effects for many people, and you don't want to go down that line. But all these things are connected, right? Carbohydrates, fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, they're all connected with each other. Generally starts with insulin resistance. That means when the insulin doesn't get into your cells anymore. It's like, so you need to produce more. And that creates other issues, creates weight problems, creates, again, not good, not good. Any energy issues. So basically, what am I saying? Health food, you need to know what you're eating. We're so careful about other things, but we need to learn how to read labels. Number one, if you cannot pronounce it, don't eat it. Don't buy it. I don't care how good it looks. Number two, if it's not organic, well, make sure, what is it that you're eating? Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Okay? Again, please try to stay away. Whatever you do, stay away from grain products which are not organic, because they can have long-term effects, okay? Which we don't want. We are spiritually responsible to do whatever is possible to watch our health and keep our soul. Our body is the temple, and we need to be able to, that our soul can shine through that temple, okay? And it's hard if you're feeling tired or, God forbid, sick or exhausted, and you didn't even do anything except, try to get out of bed, right? I've been there, I know. So what else do we want to say? Fruits, vegetables. And the other thing, of course, which is not directly connected, is eliminating these things. This is extremely important. Another topic, but elimination every day, minimum once, but 2 times even better. And there are things that you can do if you have issues in that area, and processed food don't help us with that. Some people like celery juice in the morning. I do too. I'm not consistent with it, but it does work really well for me. Fruits in the morning, but fruits, should only be the first meal. And that's it, okay? Because it doesn't work in our system the same way if it's not the first meal of the day. Some people say only before 12. I say just the first thing, without any other thing in your stomach, okay? Just water. When you first get up in the morning, tall glass of water. If you like to put lemon juice in it, that's good. Apple cider vinegar, also good. Different things, a little bit of salt, also good. Some people use a half a spoon of honey, but never in hot water. Honey should never be used in hot water. It becomes poison. Only in warm water or straight. And not too much. But honey in small quantities is healthy. Maple syrup, pure maple syrup, not the corn syrup colored brown. I'm talking about pure organic maple syrup is also health-giving. It's health-giving, but again, I'm not talking about pouring half a bottle on your pancakes, okay? No. In minimal quantities is healthy. And there are other types of sweeteners that, I personally use. There are different opinions, shall I say, about them. So I'm not going to talk about them now. If you want to know what I use, sometimes I use a lot less of it these days. But stevia is absolutely fine. Some people have an issue with stevia, but be that as it may, you get used to everything, okay? So that's okay. And yeah, I think that's good for now. I hope you get the general idea. When you go to a health food store, there's a tendency, I'm in a health food store and I'm like, I'll eat this and I'll eat this and I'll eat this and I'm going to be really healthy. It doesn't work that way. Same way with supplements, okay? I am a believer in supplements, but they have to be good supplements and they have to be the right ones for you as well. But we all need certain things, like most people, unless you have a thyroid issue, most of us need iodine every day because we do not get it. We do not get it through the foods we eat, okay, these days. Unless you eat lots of seafood and so on and so forth. But if you observe kosher, then you're not eating those things that are high iodine things like shellfish and so on. You need iodine, okay? I take iodoral, which is provone iodine. It's two different types of iodine. It completes the circuit. And iodine, again, unless you have a thyroid issue, consult with your physician if it's okay for you to take supplement. Some people do kelp. That can be good. High iodine foods. What else do I want to mention? Men, especially if you're over 40, have your DHEA checked and do some blood work. It's always good to do blood work every 6 months. Why? And just to check your basic nutrients and check where you are. And if you're doing anything specific, to see what your progress is. Oh, I almost forgot vitamin D. Again, vitamin D. Unless you live in Florida or a high sun area. And not only if you spend time in the sun every day. Because even if you live in a sunny area, never mind if you live in a cold area where the sun don't shine much and you're not outside, you must supplement vitamin D. You must supplement vitamin D. I cannot stress that enough. Vitamin D is essential. And some people say, don't consider it a vitamin, but a hormone. It does so many things to protect your health and your well-being and your mood, everything. So, I mean, some people take more. I can safely recommend, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice or nutritional advice. I'm merely stating, what I have experienced to work. But 5,000 IU minimum a day. Again, many people take more, 10 to 15,000, and don't find any issue with it whatsoever. The sun is the best. A lot of people, there are different opinions about tanning beds, but I'm a fan of a tanning bed if you have it. They're generally safe. Just never overdo it. That's all. Never overdo it. Oral supplementation is good. Again, it's not the first line, but in lieu of anything else, liposomal vitamin D would be better because it has a higher absorption. And vitamin D needs D3 and vitamin K2 along with it. Why? Vitamin K2, it tells calcification where to go. It tells it not to go in your arteries, okay? That's a longer discussion, okay? But vitamin K2 with your vitamin D3, important, okay? I think that's enough. You got sort of a picture of some different things. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Share with people you know who need to have a little bit more consciousness. It's extremely important to have more consciousness about what you put into your mouth, okay? It's important. So I know I'm all over the place, but that's okay. I hope you picked up what you need to hear in this video. All the best. Be blessed. Remember, where your head is at, that's where you're at. That's the 99%. And I'll see you on the next video. All the best.